I agree with the notion of compassion to all living things. We are all connected. Our actions matter. Karma is a cycle of cause and effect. Virtuous actions create happiness, and non-virtuous actions create suffering. The forces of good and evil are prevalent in our daily lives, yet angels are celestial, benevolent beings traveling from the heavens to earth, protecting humanity. Perhaps the conversations of angels with humans throughout history suggest existence. Those prophets and saints speaking of divine visions, delivered messages of hope. Truly, with hope, we can endure most anything we encounter. Now, on our show, we have acts of empathy, visualizations, meditations. We have topics related to dreams and I've got a little jar there for a minute. And on today's show, we have a shamanic healer, Randi Marks. But before Randi joins us, I would like us to do a relaxation exercise. We will create vivid mental images in our mind's eye, bringing positive emotions such as joy, happiness, and hope. Pull up the little picture so that we can show on the screen. Blessings. Our intention today is to realize you're capable of sparking light in your heart, here and now, at a moment's notice. What is light? Let's realize it is an authentic self of pure love and strength. Your heart visualization begins now. Please find a quiet space, sit or lay down comfortably. Close your eyes. Let's breathe out old energy and thoughts. Let's deeply breathe. Inhale and exhale 3 times. Now, I'd like you to scan your body for stress or tension from the top of your head, your crown chakra, to the tip of your toes. Let's feel the quiet and hear the peace. Let's breathe out old energy before this moment. If you have to say words to let it out, that's fine. Now I'd like you to imagine that you see a bright, whitish, yellow light surrounding your physical body. This light is in the form of a circle, and it surrounds your body. In fact, the light fills all the space in the room, even beyond the walls, as far as you can imagine. This light is strong and beautiful and bright. It is also serene and still and tranquil and inviting. You see this brilliant, beautiful light, and it slowly covers all your limbs externally, penetrating the pore of your skin internally. Every cell, muscle, organ is touched by the light. The divine light travels up through you, your feet, your knees. The light covers your legs. You feel it in your thighs and waist, stomach, lungs, your chest. It feels safe and calming. Your neck, shoulders, arms, hands, your fingers, chin, ears, your mouth, your nose, your eyes, your forehead. Every strand of your hair, the light covers and connects with. And now the crown of your head. Suddenly your mind feels complete relief of anguish, guilt, and tiredness. It's kind of unknown. You release a breath, and you embrace this light, accepting this new healing emotion. A joy fills you. Your inner spirit is calm. You smile broadly. All of your pain is gone. You feel no trace. You feel calm and content. All your suffering has disappeared. You search for it. The beautiful divine light has taken over your being. I'd like you to stay in this moment to become aware of the difference. Take a pause. One thought is evident. How? Well, it is your choice to be sad, angry, happy, and peaceful. I have a positive intention or thought. Let's let this soothing light stay inside your physical body, emotional and physical being. You ask how long. You hear as long as you allow. You are offered a chance to make a wish by the light, and you make a wish aloud. I will count backwards, and you will open your eyes. 3, 2, 1. Well, I hope that helped with some relaxation this morning. Now, I would love to say a Buddhist prayer. Now, let's focus on the meaning of this Buddhist prayer. So, with a boundless heart, should one cherish all living things, radiating kindness over the entire world, upwards towards the sky, downwards towards the depths, omitting none. May you be happy. May you be at ease. May you be free from danger. May you be loved. Okay, well, this morning we have a guest, and I will just mention a few topics before she joins us, which is very shortly. Now, I would like to tell you, this is related to Randi Marks, who's coming from Austin, Texas. Now, the law of karma is actions and effects. I mentioned it in my introduction. And karma is very important because with every action, there's a reaction. It's what you reap, what you sow. Thoughts, words, and actions are very, very powerful. A positive or virtuous action equates future happiness. For example, offering help, kind words, giving hope to someone who's experiencing misfortune. Now, related to what we do, what Randi and I do, is about energy, and it's about changing. By changing ourselves, we change the world. Randi practices. She's a shamanic healer. I'm like really having trouble with my words this morning. I think because it's my last show before I take a break, and I'm just a little startled by it. Shamanism is a practice involving interaction with the spiritual world. During altered states of consciousness, such as a trance, allowing the spirit to send healing energies to the subject, also known as a monk, a medicine man, a healer, a priestess, even a doctor. Shamans are a link between our plane and higher planes of existence. A shaman is concerned with the community, not one individual or privileged group. And this extends to all plants, animals, and the whole environment. Shamans work with spirit guides, who is a guide or protector for the living human beings. Now, our guest today, Randi Marks, is also a teacher from an online metaphysical school that I have done work with. And that's how I actually came across her. And months ago, I looked at her videos online. She has YouTube, Randi Marks. And I was really excited to know that someone else was really doing the kind of work that I was doing and putting it out there. And on the internet. And she's the author of The Anatomy of an Awakening. She's a shamanic healer. And she has DNA of Russian ancestral lineage with abilities to unstick you that move you forward as healing spirits assist. Randi's healing sessions include energy healing, sage readings, which track energy in current situations, chi healing meditations, which I'm dying to know what that is, and she has upcoming sacred retreats in Oregon and Santa Fe, New Mexico. She resides in Austin, Texas. And I'd like you to meet who's going to relieve me of my troubles right now because I'm really having trouble this morning. You could hear it. I'm like stumbling through words. I don't know why. How are you? Good morning.
I'm good. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm really good. I'm glad to see you.
Yes, me as well. I'm glad to be here. Beautiful blessings and prayers this morning. It was really beautiful.
Oh, thank you. So Randi, gosh, so much to talk about. Let's see. You've really assembled quite an exciting avenue of healing modalities, and you give clients opportunities to open up to and unblock their limitations. What exactly, and I know what this is because I actually experienced it in my way, an awakening.
Yeah, awakening. So we're actually going through one right now, as on a personal level and a collective level. COVID-19 has been an awakening and continues to be. But awakenings can be very subtle. It could be someone breaks up with you, or maybe not so subtle, having a divorce, or it could be something much bigger, like a death, or you were in a horrific accident, or you've been diagnosed with a terminal disease. They come in many different forms, and they're really these like moments in our lives where we're being faced with a shift, right? So that we're being woken up, and it's awakenings, they always feel very hard. They feel very challenging. That's kind of how you know that you're having one. Again, sometimes some are small, so they're a little bit easier to get through. The bigger ones take longer, but usually the bigger ones are the ones that are more profound, are more about your karma, your dharma, your purpose here on earth in this incarnation. But yeah, so basically awakenings just show up in our lives to, just like it sounds, to wake us up from our sleep, from our slumber, to really put us into motion and to living out our purpose and while we're here. And we can either accept the challenge or not. Usually when we accept the challenge, like I said, it can be very challenging and difficult, but not accepting it is worse, because you wonder, you wake up 20 years later and you're in the same place, you're stuck, and you're wondering, why is my life the way it is? And it's usually because we didn't heed the call to move forward.
And I know you work with, when your clients come in, you work with, or actually Zoom now, they have just really common issues related to maybe their career or relationship or interpersonal. So what would be a method that you would use to awaken someone? Let's say they have a problem and you're saying they're awakened by, I guess it's a form of transformation, right? We have to transform. If we're awakened, we have to kind of recover and add that to our lives and kind of mesh it in. So how would you, what would your healing modalities work towards that? Like, how would you do some of that with someone? I know you do meditations, you do so many things, and I'm familiar with energy healing and sage healings or sage readings. What would be one of those that you might use, and what is that?
Well, I guess first I want to say that, and just from my own personal experience, and that's kind of why I wrote that little tiny handbook. It's super small. You can read it in one little.
Don't minimize your work.
It's like really, I wanted to make it really introductory. And what I said in the little handbook, and that I want to share now, is that when I was kind of going through my own stuff, no one told me that that's what it was. I mean, it took a really long time to figure out, this is all happening because I'm being awakened, and that this is a process. I mean, we all talk about the process of grief and death, and we know those steps very, very well, but no one really talks about that we also go through simultaneously steps of awakening. So when people come to me, and it's clear to me that that's what's happening to them, they're seeing it as, holy crap, like get me out of this. This is uncomfortable. I don't like it. I don't want to feel sad. I want to, I want to be myself again. I want my old life back. And as a healer, someone, who's just kind of a little bit ahead of them and just maybe, has done more of the work, I can clearly see that like what's causing them the most pain is actually perfect. You can't really tell someone that, that your pain is perfect, but it is, because the thing that's triggering them the most and setting them off the most is actually like the tool that's going to get them, if they're willing to do the work, to like release all these attachments and release all these identities and ideas of who they are and how they should be and how they should be in the world. So to answer your question of like what healing modality would I use, I can't really say because it's individual to the person. And based on them. And I don't plan things before I work with people. It's very much being guided in the moment. But all of my sessions are I've always been a hybrid worker. Even when I was doing massage, that was my first path. My massages were always hybrid. Deep tissue mixed with myofascial, it was always just different modalities because I don't believe there's one way. And so I really am just a big believer in creating tool bags. I love to share tools with my clients so that they can do the work for themselves at home and feel empowered. So to answer your question, I don't necessarily can't give you one answer of how I would work with the awakening, but it's just individual to that person and what it is that they're going through and how like spirit and how my intuition is guiding me to say, this is how we're going to get in with this person, because every person, people have walls up, they have armor, and you can't just get into every person the same way.
You're like, to me, sounds like a crisis manager. Because, it's very appealing to me. I'm thinking, okay, I have to talk to Randi. I have to do a session because, and you make it sound very glamorous because you're saying where, if someone's in pain, then, that actually is a good thing, which, you know what, you're having me have a completely different perspective because I'm always shooting for peace and calmness and I just delete all the negative emotions, and you actually make some of it sound, good. I mean, I think I've gone through things internally without realizing, and I manage myself and I do coaching on myself. Yeah. When you talk, I know you just said to me, you're not, you can't kind of zero in and say, in one aspect per person that walks in that you're going to do, but can you tell us what they mean? Like, what is a sage reading? What is that?
So those are basically, and there's always going to be some energy component, healing component to those sessions. But when people come for those, it's really, again, like I'm listening, to what's going on in their life. And then I'm just really just sitting with my intuition, and they're telling me, so this is something that I learned. It's always amazing, right? How in life we go through stages of maybe occupations or jobs, but everything's teaching us something as we move on. One thing that massage taught me from doing it for over 20 years is that people will come in and tell you, this is hurting me, this is what's bothering me, this happened. And then when they get quiet and you start working on the body's telling you a whole other story. And there's a whole other emotional story that they didn't share. And then I'll pick up things, and then I would ask afterwards, like, I kind of felt this, I don't know if it helped me to, for me personally, working now as a healer, to really strengthen the fact that what I'm feeling is real. So they would say, oh yeah, that is going on, but they didn't share that with me. But that was basically what was causing their neck pain or their shoulder pain or whatever. So really created for me like this mind-body connection, that it's real. So when someone comes to me for a sage reading, they're telling me things, but then I don't know, I guess I just have this ability to really kind of go underneath deeper, like what's kind of like an iceberg. Like you see the top and that's the person talking, but I'm kind of, as they're talking, I'm going underneath. So the part that's under the water.
Okay, I'll pause for a minute here because I want to when you're walking me through this, because I'm trying to visualize, and I have visited shamans before.
Yeah.
And I know that they do a trance and they tune in. So is that what's happening here? So you're with the person, are you physically touching them? Obviously Zoom, you can't. So
Right.
you're connecting through your third eye, or just how are you doing?
It's hard to tell you how I do it because it's so who I am.
Natural ability.
It's like, I guess even as a child, I was just able to do that even as like a very young person.
Mm-hmm.
Even if someone's on Zoom with me, it doesn't matter. Like, it's just energy is energy. So like, even right now, like you're with me, you know what I mean? So I'm like, I feel like I'm physically with you, even though we have a screen.
Mm-hmm.
So when
I need this healing.
Yeah, it's a funny thing, and it's just energy, right? So energy just moves through the air, and it's intention. So when we're doing the sage reading, though, we're just going deeper. I'm using my intuition, but I also, a lot of times, I stop, I pause. Something that I'm able to do is automatic writing. So I'll just stop and ask, like, questions for that person. I'll get maybe it doesn't come to the very end where I'm asking, is there a message for this person? But it's always fascinating, like what comes through. So I also, my sage readings channel through automatic writing. So it's very, like I said, it's very hybridish. So they'll be talking. I'm really going deeper. I mean, it always happens where when I'm picking up, they're like, yeah, that's actually what's going on. And then that's where I go. I don't go to them saying, well, like we need to get out, like we need to like get stuff out that's happening on the physical surface level, like the 3D level. But when I can get to that deeper place and pick up on it, that's where I want to go. Because if we can go there and work through that, the stuff that's very physical that they're experiencing, it just kind of works itself out. That makes sense.
Do you do any like ritual work? I know that we can't do the drumming because it's not going to be okay for, the neighbors this early in the morning with drumming or anything. Do you have anything that you can show us that you use? Do you have
well, something that is like I love to do with people, and I love, this is something I do for myself, and I love to share with people because it's something every person can do, is I love doing fire ceremony. Like I love fire ceremonies in general, period. And obviously something that you can do on a full moon. I love, like you talked about, ritual full moons, new moons, awesome. And then you're constantly in the month tracking cycles, which we are all a part of, even though we think we're somehow separate from those cycles. And we're always expanding and contracting just like the moon, right? But something we can all do at home, because we can't all build a fire, is working with candles and using the candle as your fire. I love using toothpicks as something that I can like blow things into, and I can talk everyone through that if you'd like me to. But you can also just use your intention, and that's something that you might keep hearing me go back to. Intention is super powerful, and you don't need all these tools and all these things. It's really just like, what is my focus and my intent here? And you can put that into the flame of the fire. But if you happen to have a toothpick, and when we're outside doing fire ceremonies, we use sticks, we use elements from outside, but we can't do that when we're inside, and we don't want to start a fire. So you can always the ritual that you can do is every day. Like if you need to end your day, maybe you want to start your day, maybe you want to start and end your day, right? Or maybe, like I said, you just want to do it on a new moon or only on a full moon or both. You choose, like, what are you needing that month, that day? I'm a big, big believer that, and this is something I've had to learn from myself, especially like you probably feel this too, like working as a healer, you take on a lot of energy. So for me personally, I have to every day do the work of like letting stuff go and not carrying the stuff around that, you know, maybe had been transmitted through a session or with other
I
people.
forget to do that sometimes.
Right.
Lately, I think I got too much.
Yeah.
And I was trying to overcome it, and now I'm trying to drain it from me. Because
okay, so that's a perfect word. So something that I'll share 2 things that I do on a daily basis. One of the things that I do is when I do my meditations, before I begin to go into that place, I begin with my breath. I sit in a chair so that my feet are rooted into Mother Earth, into the earth, and I close my eyes. And as I'm breathing in, I'm just noticing I'm just noticing the sensation of feeling heavy. I'm just, whether that's tired, anxious, sad, upset about something that happened yesterday, I'm mad at someone, I have some forgiveness. All of those go under the category of heaviness. So I'll just like feel the heaviness in my body. And as I exhale, I'm breathing it out down through my legs, and I'm imagining it going into the core of the earth. And as I'm doing that, I'm just having this intention of like Mother Earth, like taking my heaviness from me. And what she loves to do is she loves to mulch it for us. She takes our lessons, our heaviness, and transmutes it into like love, into light, and she gives it to others, right? So our lessons then are being turned into light and then being shared to others, which is really, that's part of the community aspect, right? Like our pain is, we all share pain. We all share the same pain, the same dreams, the same hopes, the same disappointments, but they're just going to be different in how they show up in experience, right? But we all have the commonality of feeling those things. So I just let the heaviness go out through my body, and then immediately you already feel a sense of lightness. And just like what you did, then I welcome in light from the crown of my head into my body, and I feel it going to like every cell of my body. And then I move that down too, through my legs down to my feet, and giving that to Mother Earth. And then what's really beautiful about it is at some point you kind of feel yourself as this being floating between heaven and earth, and that you're just there existing in between. And it's a really beautiful sensation to know that you're connected above and you're connected below, but like you're all connected. That's like the shamanic thing, right? Is you're connected to everything, to all things. You're not separate from it. So it also allows you to recognize that there's a connection and you're not separate. So something I do is I release the heaviness, I bring in the light. Throughout the day, if I feel any constriction or I got triggered by something or something upset me, I have to stop myself, I have to breathe, and I do it again. You're constantly letting the heaviness go. And as someone, you probably being empathic and I'm being empathic, something I've really had to learn as an empath is carrying all this stuff around was something that I think I thought I had to do in order to feel connected to people. I've had to learn that I can be empathic and be connected to people, but I can put it down. I don't have to carry it to feel close to you. And I think that's something a lot of empaths can resonate with. Anyone who's hearing this right now is that empathic people tend to carry a belief that if I carry your pain all the time, then I feel closer to you and you feel closer to me. But what ends up happening is we feel very depleted and very sick. So it's actually more powerful to say, I feel what you're feeling. I'm here for you. I'm listening. And then you step away and you don't have, you help them by just listening and being there, but you don't have to take it home with you, everybody's problems, right? So that's something that I do. And then you could do something like that in the mornings, at night, and then you can have a candle there and light a candle. Like I said, I have toothpicks, and I'll just go into my body and I'll close my eyes, and I'll have my toothpick. And something that you can do is, and you can even pretend there's a toothpick, pretend that you're putting it in the fire. Again, it's all intention. It doesn't have to be a real thing, but it's always kind of fun to burn things and watch it burn because there's a transformation there.
See, I'm scared of fire. That's the problem.
Like we love fire is so calming too.
I know, I have a fear of fire.
Yeah, you do. Well, maybe you should be doing it then to overcome. Like this might be your little way in.
I'm like, so I don't know. I mean, I live near the water and I have to be by water, and I go look at the water every day.
Yeah.
I do have a fear of fire. And so this is
someone like you maybe
opening me right now. Pardon me?
I was gonna say someone like you, okay, maybe fire isn't your element, it doesn't resonate with you. So maybe for you, it's going by the water, again, maybe picking up a leaf. Or
No. We're going back to what I'm going to challenge my fear. I'm not, now that you've said that.
Okay, well, there's other ways of doing it where we're like still blessing. But anyway, so we have the candle, we have the toothpick, or we have our intention, and you can have several toothpicks. Like you could have, or it's just, you just have one, you can just have the one. And what I tell people to do is to like close their eyes and to go into their body and think about like maybe there's something maybe there's something you need to forgive or someone you need to forgive. Maybe there's something you want to bring into your life that you're like wanting to bring into your life. Maybe there's something that you want to heal, but we really have to do like the releasing piece first before we have to be open and have space to welcome in things. So it's not all about like, I want to manifest. I want. We have to do really the work of like, I need to forgive. What do I need to let go of? What am I holding on to? What is not serving me? What is causing me this constriction in my body? That's the stuff when you close your eyes and you just feel it. You'll feel it in your gut. You'll feel it in your throat. You'll feel it in your heart. So going into these energy centers, which we call chakras, is also additional information of like, why did I feel it in my throat? And you'll probably start to make a connection. Like the throat to me is a place of expression, of using our voice, of boundaries, but it's also a place of spirit. Like, are we not like being intuitive? Are we not receiving the messages, right? So this is like the work that I do with people, is that like we go into different layers and there's so much information in each layer. But for you at home, you're just looking at this toothpick and you have this fire that you're connecting to. You're closing your eyes and you're going in and you're just like, what needs to heal? What do I need to, maybe you need to forgive in yourself. Maybe you've been punishing yourself. Whatever it is, you feel it in your body. You'll feel it somewhere. You'll feel something. And in that, you like breathe out. And you just keep blowing it into the stick, into the toothpick. And then put that in the fire. You watch it catch on fire. You let it burn. You could put it like on a little plate or a dish. It burns out super quick on a toothpick. It won't catch anything on fire. You don't want to blow it out. You want to let it do it on its own, which it will. And you transform it. And you might have, and then again, the next day, it might still be there. We do it again. Like a lot of this pain, a lot of the stuff that shows up for people is lifetime stuff. It's not going to just go away in one candle ceremony or one fire ceremony. It's a constant, we talked about awakening and awareness. It's a constant awareness of like right now for the next, it could be for 5 years. I've been called to do forgiveness work. Like I'm being called to, I don't know, do manifestation work. Whatever it is, like it sometimes takes layers and time, and it just because it creeps back up doesn't mean that you're not doing the work or not doing it right. It's just showing up for you at another level that you're ready to see and to work with. So all our stuff, I believe, I'm sure I'm going to put words in your mouth, I'm sure you believe, it doesn't just come from us in this lifetime, right? It's like many lifetimes, many incarnations.
Karma, I meant.
Right. And we're burning through it. And that's why the fire is helping us to burn. And our intention and our awareness and being willing to even admit it is helping with the karma piece. Like I just said about being an empath and taking on, especially as women, we like want to take care of everyone and take on everyone's stuff. Every time we do that, we're taking on other people's karma. And I always tell people, we have enough of our own. So you have to be very careful when you're getting involved with someone or in other people's stuff. You have to be honest and say, am I willing to take on this person's karma? Because you are when you get entangled. So that's why we have to be very clear with our boundaries of, I have enough of my own. And sometimes other people's stuff is worth getting involved in, but you have that. You have to pay the karma. It's going to show up in your life too. So
Wait. What do you mean you're going to have to pay the karma? So if you get involved and tangled with their karma, then how do you have to pay for it?
I don't know. It plays out how it plays out, right? So like that's why we have to be very careful. There's, we all know that person who's involved in everyone's stuff, right? Whether it's like gossip or just getting involved in, that feeling of like when we got involved in something and we were like, I shouldn't have gotten involved. Like, we just know, like, I shouldn't have gone there. It can play out in many ways. It could play out where later on down the road, you actually have the same experience as that person. Or it could just play out emotionally in you, where it awakens something in you that, like, maybe wasn't supposed to be awake. I don't know. Like I said,
it's all relative. Okay. Yeah. Now I try to remember what I have to ask you, because you're telling me information and I'm so excited, and then I forget what I wanted to ask. Okay, quick question. So two questions. When you are blowing out, so is that, or you said you're basically using the matchstick as a prop kind of or something.
Use a toothpick. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. A toothpick, a matchstick. You're using that as a prop to kind of identify or using that so that you can connect with something outside of your body and then release it. Is that what it is?
Yeah, and it's also well, it's like representative. Like, if we were, like I said, we're outside and we're doing a fire ceremony, we're gathering sticks. So it's really, it really represents many things, but one of the things it can represent is nature. Like, we're connected to earth and we're like giving it to the earth, right? And it just kind of also represents, it's just kind of, I mean, I guess I could think of it as like a tree trunk. If you want to think of it that way, of like, trunk going into the tree, the roots, into the earth. I mean, so I think it can be anything you want it to be. If you believe in like magic, it could be your magic wand, whatever. I think it's just whatever you want it to be, but
magic here.
Right. And magic. So for me, it's more of just like, when I have that piece of wood, it's just a wood element. It's an element of earth, of outside, of the tree of life, of the tree. I guess the fact that it's like this, again, it goes back to that visualization meditation, that like, as above, so below, like we're in between, like it's all connected. I mean, it could be whatever it wants to mean for you, but what I love is like, and I think is really important, like even when I do like, readings for people, what does it mean to you? Like, I'm just getting messages and I'm not really here to define what it means for you. Like, I can tell you what I'm getting, but like, what does the stick mean for you? What does the meditation mean for you? What does the fire mean for you? What are the messages coming through from spirit mean to you? You're the ultimate decider of what it all means. And I put the power back to you. Like, you're empowered and you know. So to answer that question.
Well, it totally resonated with me, because as soon as you started telling me the process, I really identified and I really connected, and it gave me clarity, and I started to feel emotional, and maybe it's because fire is one of the elements, and so my being is really, really, this is very valid, and I kind of want all the answers. You can tell I'm just like, okay, and really it's about us individually expressing whatever we need at that moment, right? What we do is really, we're helpers and healers, and it could be one little shred of something could help one person, and somebody else, it helps them in a different way. So I wasn't really trying to kind of make it super concrete. I was just trying to, in myself, identify like why is that happening? Like, it really did something to me. And I like the idea of what is it called? The fire.
What's doing a fire ceremony?
The fire ceremony. Both of those sound fabulous.
And also too, like for someone like you who maybe is not super comfortable with fire, like a candle, we all know candles are safe, right? But it's an interesting thing because maybe, again, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but those of us who feel like, gosh, in a past lifetime, I just know that I was burned. I was like a witch, or I was burned, or some, I mean, a lot of people that I meet, because I do this work, we share that experience. And so there's something, like when I first did fire ceremonies outside, like big ones with like groups of people, I mean, I'm not going to lie, I had like a total emotional reaction, because I had like flashbacks of like past lives, and like, but I knew I had to be there because I had to recognize I'm not this time, like not this lifetime, like it's not anymore. Like I get to be this person and do this healing work and no one's going to kill me this time. And so maybe that's for you, like working with the fire is just a stepping stone, or anyone who's listening, to recognize like this lifetime I get to be who I want to be. Like how amazing is it to be a woman, right? Like in this lifetime, like we get to be anything we want to be and no one's going to burn me this time for being that. And so working with the candles may be a stepping stone in for those people who do have like past life visions of like, this is safe and I can work with this. And maybe you don't ever go outside and do it, but at least you get to.
Oh, I'm doing all these. Yeah. Everyone that tells me something that I find
it's super powerful.
So you talked about on your site, I saw that you talked about ethereal beings and other dimensions, and I know you've given us some examples, and that probably happens actually during karmic overlays you talk about as well. When you do a session with someone, or I know this is not every session, obviously, right. And you're really connecting and identifying with whatever is strongest coming through vibrationally with that person, which is what, and I'm not going to put words in your mouth, but I know that that's what happens to me. So it's like people say, oh, this is what's bothering me. And then I'm like going in and I'm like, no, it's this issue, right? So when you do, what is it, astral, do you do astral dimensionals work? Is that what you do?
No, what it is most of the time, if I'm going to really like focus on going to like into the trance and other dimensions, I do it in different ways because some of it's like I said, I'm not like a one.
Right. It depends on the situation. But if you gave us an example.
So I'll give a very straightforward example is I'll take someone on a drumming journey. And so
what?
I do like a drumming journey. So
drumming journey.
And so they're just like laying down, I'm talking them through breathing, and then I'm just using my drum and drumming. And I am kind of being guided which dimension to take them in. And so in shamanism, we work in like worlds. So there's a lower world, a middle world, and an upper world. Mm-hmm. And so sometimes I'm called to take them through basically we go like in the journeys, we'll go the lower world and the upper world. Mm-hmm. And so sometimes I'm guided to do both. Sometimes I'm guided to just do one. Mm-hmm. But there's just different information in each of those worlds. So the lower worlds are more of connecting with power animals, spirit, plants, mm-hmm. spirit, spirit guides, mm-hmm. Things like that. Plant allies, things like that. And there's other things that are there too. I'm just making it very general right now, but in the upper world, we can connect with our teachers, with like our ultimate teacher. We can receive healings. So it just depends. And when we go into different worlds and different chambers, there's just different information, like whether there's an old soul contract that we've written that needs to be rewritten, or if there's a chamber of like forgiveness, like we talked about, there's just different like chambers within those realms. Where I'm just guided. And sometimes you'll go into those realms and the spirits will tell you like, you're not allowed to come in today. And that can happen. So you have to also ask permission from the spirits. Like, am I allowed to enter today? It could be that person is not ready to you know what I mean? So it rarely happens, but it can happen where they're like, not today. So it's really important. That's why I feel like I just differentiate myself and from maybe some people that I know that do this work. I don't have like just a one track fits all. I don't just say, oh, I do journeying and it just happens. I'm very respectful of like the spirits and the unseen world, and that I'm interacting with it. And just because I have on my thing that I do this doesn't mean that that's what we're doing. You know what I mean? Just because I say, I think it comes from a very egoic place to be like, this is what I do and that's what we're doing. So I really have to be aware of like, it's not me doing. I'm just kind of the conduit here in the physical, and then we can go into these worlds and bring back information. But what's super cool is at the same time, when I come back and if I always ask the person's permission if they want me to share what I got. I don't just tell people. They have to give me their permission. So they'll give me their permission. And what's fascinating is they had an experience on the table that totally matches something that I was seeing. We were both in silence. So it's super cool too to match up experiences and that you're both having this experience and it's real. So those are always really fascinating. So that's something that I can do in terms of going to dimensions on a shamanic perspective, like a shamanic way of doing things. I would do the journey.
You're an expert because, I've met shamans and I've worked with healers, and for the last 6-7 years, I've been around a lot of mediums and healers and psychics and medical intuitives. And what you're telling me, your flow to me is so natural. You're really good at this because you can be trained in some of the things and influences that we are working with. However, if you have a natural ability that transcends that's way bigger than someone who's trained. It's like you're trained, but you also have a natural ability, and the two together, I say that you're an expert. I find, a lot of what you're saying today, I really, really, really connect, and I understand it, because it's kind of, I think we have a lot of similar characteristics in this work. And it's fascinating, and it's very scary too, because what you're saying is it's the ultimate vulnerability. And what I mean by that is when we do the work, like you said, someone's on the table and you're going to the lower and the upper, you're talking about like a full being of, a full being of all of their karma and all of their lives. And that's something that when you don't realize the impact till after the work, after you've done that session, because then a flood of emotions and releases. And I mean, sometimes, no joke, it can take weeks, but the outcome is that you've now transformed to a different version of you.
Yeah.
And I commend you on this work. I myself, I know that it's a lot to take on. So you are really good at this, that you can release and you understand how to do it. And you're just a very precious being to me. And I want everyone to know that this is someone that you should connect with. So one or two more things I just want to talk about, because now I know we're almost out of time. You have some upcoming sacred retreats, and you have one in Santa Fe, New Mexico, which is in April 21st to 24th. And I read that it's about nature and Mother Earth and balancing and clearing old energies, a lot of what we've discussed this morning. And then you have another one in Oregon in October through the 14th through the 17th, and there's rainforests and mountains. And do you want to share a little bit about those?
So due to COVID, I was supposed to start these in 2020, but it didn't happen. I had to cancel, which was really disappointing, but it is what it is. So I postponed everything. The Santa Fe one is actually going to be, the dates that you have are correct, and it's going to actually be 2022, just because I was feeling like that's when it would be time. I knew this spring we wouldn't be ready yet for people to really feel safe traveling. So the one in Santa Fe is really going to be more of my destiny guidance work. And people, this would be perfect. I mean, I created this before COVID and just was guided to do it, but now it makes so much sense why I was guided to create this, because it's just going to be, 4 days of creating your dreams, looking at your life, like, how do you want to be living? Where do you want to be living? What do you want to be? It's just a dream creating, destiny creating time. And again, like you said, Santa Fe is amazing. We're going to use the city and the energy of Santa Fe to help us, but also, like you said, nature and other things there. And then the one in Oregon, my goal is just to do that next fall, 2021, October. And that's going to be more of an element focused retreat of really connecting to the elements, like this part of shamanism and this animism that like everything is connected. We are connected to all things, and really getting people reconnected and reminded that we are part of the ocean, part of the trees, etc. So that's going to be much more nature focused.
And okay, so your book, which I just brought up the cover, and it's available on Amazon, which I'm going to order. I wish I had known. I didn't even realize you had a book. I would have already gotten it prior to this. And it's The Anatomy of an Awakening. Is that some like steps that you have that we can all do to kind of bring our real true selves forward? What is that?
Yeah, so when you read this, I wanted to just create something, like I said earlier, that no one told me that I was going through an awakening. And then when I looked back on my own experience, and then I started really listening to, like, you know, thousands of hours of clients through my career, that we were all going through it, the same thing. So I really just wanted to create this so it would just be this easy little handbook. It's like by your nightstand. If you're going through something, you kind of just understand, oh, these are the steps. Again, just like the grief steps, sometimes things can move out of order, but you kind of go through them all. So it's really just laying out, like, very shortly and succinctly, like, this is what's happening, this is what you can expect, and then this is the next stage. And then eventually you come out of it, and then you're going to have another one and another one. And then that way, every time you go through an awakening, the next time you're like, oh, this is what's happening. And you don't have such a reaction to it. And it takes you much shorter to get through them. The more that you recognize it's happening, I'm just going to relax into it, however long it's going to take. But you'll notice they take shorter and shorter when you actually relax into the awakening and allow it to happen, and enjoy the process of becoming something new. So the constriction and the fear really makes things a lot longer to go through.
Right, because you're basically blocking yourself and you're fighting it instead of just accepting it.
Right.
You have no ego, and you have so much kindness, and you're a gentle being.
Oh, thank you so much.
You are, because I get it. Because I, like, you know how I feel. It's so strange, and I feel like there's so much lightness to you, and it's easy to be myself. And I know that that's why you're successful at what you do, because the work that you do, you cannot have judgment, and you cannot, and we shouldn't, but especially in this work. And then the person feels like their soul can connect to you, and allowing you to open them up and understand them. So you have an Instagram, Blonde Shaman.
Blonde Shaman.
Is that right? Blonde Shaman, right? And then the Facebook, it's Blonde Shaman, or is it under Randi Marks?
I have my work page is the same thing. Yes.
Okay. And then your YouTube is Randi Marks, which there's some videos, and your website is randimarks.com.
Yes. So it's all pretty the same. You notice? Yes. And then Randi is spelled with an I, and Marks is Marks. So.
Well, it's on the post for this this show today.
Yeah.
I'm just really appreciative, and already today I can feel. I felt like there was something shifting before we started, because all of a sudden, you know, you talked about your voice and your throat chakra, and like all of a sudden I was like getting clogging in my throat, and I was like, oh my gosh, am I about to lose my voice? So I said, is this an impact related to, you know, meeting you today, or is this because it's something I'm going through? You know, like change is happening for all of us, and so today was the right day for you to come into my life. You know, for me to start to accept some of the gifts that you have. And I hope everyone reaches out to Randi, checks her out on social media or her video, and just learn something from today, because it's a gift. You're a gift.
Thank you. Well, you are too, and I can't wait to see what you keep creating.
Oh,
and I know it'll be something wonderful. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm working on this interactive new show, and I'm taking a break from Angels, God and Me after today. And maybe that's why I got my throat clogged up, because it's kind of scary to embark on something new. Like, I'm going to start to cry. It's scary because it's about acceptance and it's about change. And can I do it? Can I do it? I don't know if I can do it.
Well,
But
maybe do the candle ceremony today and like let it go, but then welcome in the new and see how you feel with just like working with the fire. And
you know what? I'm totally going towards the fire now, because now I have to. I'm going to text you after, because as soon as I hear something and then I get alarmed, then I'm like, I have to go find out what that is. You know, that's kind of what I'm going to do now. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And we'll talk after, and I want to meet you in person. And I would love to figure out one of these retreats.
Okay. Thank you so much. And blessings to everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day. Happy January.
Yeah, you too.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Well, I needed that, I guess. Okay, so our gemstone today. Our gemstone today is the rose quartz. And a rose quartz is a crystal of unconditional love. So love, love, love. We want love in our lives. It carries a soft, feminine energy of compassion and peace, tenderness and healing, nourishment and comfort. It speaks directly to the heart chakra, which is right here on your left side of your chest. And dissolving emotional wounds, fears, resentments, circulates a divine loving energy throughout the entire aura, reawakening the heart to its own innate love. It provides a sense of personal fulfillment and contentment, allowing one the capacity to truly give and receive love from others. Let's open our hearts to love. The rose quartz purifies and opens the heart at all levels to promote love, self-love, friendship, deep inner healing, and feelings of peace. Calming and reassuring, it helps to comfort in times of grief. Rose quartz dispels negativity and protects against environmental pollution, replacing it with loving vibes. So again, I want to say that I'm taking a pause from Angels, God and Me, because I'm working on a new interactive show called Signs and Messages of Light. And it will be about topics and in the metaphysical world, spiritual, myths and legends, and it will be interactive. So people will be able to call in, and it's going to be on a different format, a different platform. So I just want to say to everyone, Happy New Year, and let's try to work. And I make suggestions about finding the beautiful glowing light in your heart, and be a friend to everyone that you meet, and send beautiful thoughts, words, and actions of kindness to everyone. So thank you for joining me. Please like my Facebook and Instagram or Twitter page, which is Mary Amy Official. My website is maryamyofficial.com. You can email me, and I offer 15-minute sessions on the phone via video. So let's construct only positive thoughts, words, and actions. Have a wonderful day. Sending light, love, and peace.